That's good.
Hey, Jeff, just a heads up.
Yeah.
I have a little bit of a head cold. I may have to turn off the microphone and the camera so that I can dad sneeze. So just, I don't want you to be thrown off when I disappear. If I happen to accidentally leave the microphone on, everyone will disappear once I sneeze.
Soccer chat with two T's because we're going to chat about soccer, but we're also in Chattanooga. So it's like a play on words. And, Chattanooga is a soccer city.
Welcome to Soccer Chat Festivus Spectacular Throwdown Happy Fun Time Jamboree.
Woohoo!
I hope you guys have your aluminum pole and have the family around. Had a chance to air your grievances.
I thought this was about airing grievances.
Festivus is not over until Wolfman Jeff pins Adam.
Yeah, we're going to be here a while. He's been working out.
Yeah, but I've been working on getting smaller, not necessarily stronger. I'm just saying. Oh, good stuff. Yeah, so not much has happened so far this offseason, right? It's been pretty calm. There haven't been any signings, no announcements of any sort from the league, right? It's been pretty calm. Is that accurate?
Well, it's hard to say because most of my news is the news that comes out of Omaha. So I've not been getting the other stuff.
So, that was really great how Omaha announced the fact that we were re-signing Ray Ortiz. Thank you very much, Omaha.
And Jeff is enjoying some of our new features that we've got. So here's the thing. Some news dropped today that I think we should start the show off with. I'm just going to completely ruin Tinsel's rundown that he took so much time sending us all. We had a conversation, I think it was the last show, and he's gone.
He's gone.
He had to have a sneeze. He already had to leave us for a sneeze. So we talked about the succession plan if we were to have our coach end up at a higher level, because we all feel like he's getting to that point where it's only a matter of time. And it's not that he can't eventually be here, but we no longer have Sawcheck. He has left us to, I'm assuming, teach Eamon how to coach since he's never coached before and has gone to Colorado. What are your guys' thoughts?
Well, first of all, it is surreal because it's a lateral move and it's under a coach who's never been a head coach. So it has to kind of seem like he's doing it as a buddy. That's how it looks like because Eamon's not been the head coach. But then I had this dreadful thought today does this mean that there's going to be a cleaning of house of the coaching staff? I don't think there would, as if Obleda's leaving as well. That's why Sawcheck is leaving. But I don't think so. I know for a fact that the club is very happy with Obleda. But if Obleda got an opportunity and Sawcheck knew that was happening, maybe he moved out. But I don't know. It is strange.
No, I think you would have heard something about that. I think it's a matter of he came in 2020. I would be shocked if he's on anything more than a 1-year deal. And it's got to be a situation where Eamon was here when he was here, saw a lot of what he brings to the table. Mm-hmm. He's a defensive coach. Our defense was really strong. And I think it's just an opportunity situation. He's really only been in the South since he's been coaching, right? Like he was at Atlanta United 2. He was with an academy in the Atlanta area. So that's the other shocking part is he's not just leaving us. He's leaving us for a place that's 20-hour drive from here, assuming you don't ever have to take a stop.
Yeah. Here in Finland are his two home bases, Atlanta area and Finland. So, and North Colorado is neither of those.
Yeah. What do you think there, Tinsel?
I think weather-wise, it might remind some of Finland, especially currently. But yeah, it was a huge surprise. I haven't spoken with anyone in the team, but I would just have to imagine that it probably did kind of come as a little bit of a surprise. I'm sure, they normally know more than we do about things that are happening behind the scenes. And I'm sure if we were to bounce things off of Sean McDaniel, Bob Martino, any of the other folks in the front office, they'd have nothing but good things to say about Kevin Sawchuk, what he did for the club the 2 years that he was here, and what he was able to help the team do. He had the respect of the players. You could see that easily in any interaction around the club on game days and all of those sorts of things. And so, I want to wish him the best of luck. I hope great things happen for him and for Eamon. He's a guy that was on the move. I think he's someone that's a hot commodity, and maybe he has a little more responsibilities, like you said, with Eamon, who is new to coaching. Does have all his licensing and everything, but is new to coaching. So he may have a little bit more responsibilities than he had here at the Red Wolves that are going to burnish his resume. And in 1 to 2 years, it would not be shocking to see him taking over a team in League One or a team in NISA or something like that at that level as a head coach in his own right.
Yeah. It is kind of interesting. I guess one thing I can expect is we're going to have far less yellow cards for coaching staff this year.
No, I think it's just going to be more likely we'll go to red, because I think he did a good job of taking some of it off of Obleda.
Tag teaming. Yeah.
And, who knows what Obleda brings in? I mean, it's not like Obleda doesn't have these connections to be able to bring in a really strong replacement for him. So I'm not saying that we won't have a good, strong coaching staff. And I'm confident that Obleda had a good enough relationship with Kevin that this is not catching him completely off guard. So, so let's move on. I would also
say this is definitely not Kevin Sawchuk being pushed out. His performance, team's performance, it's not the sort of thing where, you see college football coaches firing coordinators when they lose games to protect themselves. Coach Obleda is not in that situation. There is nobody that is unhappy with the job he's done. So I think that's definitely not the case. This is a different and a good opportunity for Sawchuk that he felt he had to take at this point in his career.
Yeah.
All right, so let's move to some positive. We've already had some player returning announcements, and I'm going to position it in this manner. Who is your favorite returning player that's been announced so far, Alex?
I am very excited that Daniel Navarro is going to be back captaining that center of the defense. I think that's a great re-signing, and I'm really excited. And we're all it's hundredths of a percentage off from a lot of the other players that they've announced. I'm excited for a lot of these guys, but what the calm, the steadiness that Daniel Navarro was able to bring in the center of defense alongside Jason Ramos really helped us through the year, and I'm excited to see him come back.
Especially after the second half of the year, he really gelled with that back line. And he was good coming in, but then as the season went on, he just got better and better, more solid. I've got to go for midfield, and I'm going to go with captain Jose Carrera Garcia. Of the re-signings right now, that gives me the most comfort because he brought so much there in his captaincy, also in his playmaking, that it gives us, if we lose some of the players, and I'm afraid we're going to lose, that gives them a little bit of a buffer that I know someone who knows the plan and knows how to rally the troops. And it's monumental.
So for me, it's Rafa, because I think he had a disappointing season, and I would like to see him have a non-disappointing season. I think the injury that he sustained never really got him to an opportunity to really get comfortable. And I think there's a good chance we're going to lose some of those playmakers that have been here for 3 years. I think we're going to at least lose one. It's an interesting choice to put the example comment at the bottom. But I think we're going to at least lose one of either Ricky or Markey, if not both. And I think that means that someone like Rafa, who can play the edge, is going to be really important to set up El Tenque as he is in the middle and is coming back. So that's probably, for me, the reason I'm most excited about him is I still think he's got a lot left, and we just haven't seen it yet. I hope I'm right on that.
And I've already mentioned, feel like as we got to the end of the year, Rafa was really starting to get into form. And if the season had gone on 3-4 more weeks, I think he was about to go off, have a really big game where he scored a couple goals, something like that. He was really coming into form. So if he's able to keep himself healthy through the off season and work through training camp, then I think you're right. I think he brings a lot to that offense.
So that has not been announced, are you most waiting to find out the status of? A few of the players that haven't been announced, we know what's happening with them, such as Mora, who's already signed, with a Mexican Division III team. But who are you guys most waiting and with bated breath on?
The 3 R's are the ones that pop to mind, and that's Ricky, that's Ricketts, and that's Ramos. And you're going to expect me to say Ricky as the one I'm most concerned about. And I mostly am, but I'm going to default to Ramos insofar as him in the back line, especially now that we've got Navarro, that I think allows us to be, we don't have to worry about the back line. I also wonder if the other guys, because I think all 3 of them possibly could be signed up and would move up. I don't think they're going to make lateral moves if they're not here. That's really hard to call because all 3 of them are really, really close, but just a little slight edge to Ramos because he has saved our tails so many times.
Yeah, there's a lot of those third-year guys that I know a lot of people want to see come back that Jeff mentioned. To me, one that I'm really hoping to see brought back for a second year is Jackson Dietrich. I think he's the offensive dip that the team took at the end of the season, and him going out for the season with an injury, I don't think was coincidental. I think those happened at the same time, and he brought a dynamism to the offense out there on the wing, and it was fun to watch. And so I'd love to see him come back and see if a guy like Markey's not coming back, if a guy like Ricky's not there, and he's able to have even more playing time, what he would be able to do and how he could prove himself to get to that next level again. So Jackson Dietrich is one that I really want to see.
I want to see Jackson.
Put that all-time Dietrich scoring leader, beyond reach for whoever the Dietrich will be next year.
Well, I'd like to see Dietrich with a in-form Rafa. Rafa back 100% with Jackson. I think that would be dynamite.
Yeah. So for me, it's in goal. Right, we know Mora's gone. What we don't know is what's going on with Timmy Trilk. Is he going to be back for a 3rd year, or is he moving on somewhere else? I think he's shown the ability to move on somewhere else, but I don't really know what the championship level keeper situation is. I'm not going to pretend to know a lot about what's going on with all those championship teams. And then the question becomes, is an MLS Next Pro team something that would be of traction to someone who might have MLS goals like Timmy Trilk, who's still a young guy, right? Is that going to cause us having a hard time getting some of those re-signings? Like, how much of an impact is that going to make? And then when you talk about all these other guys, there's some more West Coast teams now, right? You've got Fuego out there. You've got Northern Colorado that's further west, and a lot of our star players are from the West Coast. And I wonder how much of an impact is that going to make for us? And then once again, talking NISA and MLS Next Pro, if those levels end up being the same pay scale, you start talking about a lot of competition for players at this level. And a lot of those guys being West Coast guys, and a lot of our recruiting being on the West Coast, I worry about when they prove themselves like Ramos has done. Ramos came from an open tryout. It's rare for an open trial guy to become the impactful player that he became, right? Same with Dietrich, right? He's an open tryout guy, and they were very impactful. That's not common, right? And so for them to do that, prove themselves, what other opportunities do they now get? Now that they've proven themselves at this level, will they get a championship opportunity? Will they see MLS Next Pro as a chance to maybe be that diamond in the rough that they find and it brings up to the MLS to sit the bench on MLS and maybe one day get in there? Like, I don't know what that impact is, and this is the first offseason where we really kind of have to worry and think, is that going to be the case?
Well, I think Trilk made a name for himself this year. My only hesitation on thinking he wouldn't, on him going would be, I think he wants a full year. And Trilk with this team for a full year, then he's going to get accolades. And if he had played a full year, I think he could have been up for the Golden Glove. And I think one more year, a solid year, I think he may want that under his belt with a team he knows, and to really prove himself that he carries it for the entire year to buff up those stats. and
So,
crickets.
so I got another question. A lot of other teams have also made some announcements. Did you guys see who's returning to Greenville?
Yes, that was the big. I think that's the biggest. Is Keegan is heading back to Greenville, and I know the people in Greenville are delighted. They're losing Dallas J, who's an institution there, and he's moving on. So I know for the fans of Greenville, and they're pretty cool guys actually, are delighted to bring back someone who's meant a lot to him. So I think it's at this stage his play is not as high as it had been. So it's more of a fan favorite. Does that?
See, I'm going to go and say that he didn't get used correctly in Madison, like most of the players in Madison.
Mm-hmm.
And I think when you read some of his cryptic tweets, he's really excited to not be in Madison anymore. He's made comments. I think one of it, like the way he worded it was, it's good to be back with where I'm going to be treated like family, implying he isn't treated that way where he was coming from. So I think you might see him go back to that level he was pre-knee injury, because it does that. The type of injury he has is one of those that they say takes a full year really to fully recover from. I don't know that he really had that. And he was prolific in the first half, and then they just stopped using him. Like they just didn't. They threw him on the bench, and they didn't use him in the second half of the season really. And I think, they once again finished where they finished, which is out of the playoffs, but with the best jerseys. So I think he's going to be scary. I don't like that he's back in Greenville from strictly a crap. Now we got to play that guy 3 times, right? And thank God we get to play everybody the same amount, and that there's no more of this. Well, you guys got to play this team 4 times and we played them twice, stuff. So, anyways, I think he's a big deal coming back, and he's, in my opinion, the biggest deal, even more than the gentleman moving from Omaha to Tucson.
Yeah, I noticed. They had Connor Doyle is back in Tucson, but they haven't now. They have
Omaha.
Omaha, sorry. It's that place out west. But they haven't said anything about Greg Hurst, which I'm sure the Boohoos are waiting on. That's the signing they're probably waiting on.
So my understanding is that Greg Hurst was on a 1-only contract. He did not have a 1-and-1, so there was no club option for that second season. So he could very well end up back, but I think all the ones that we're seeing right now that clubs are announcing of returning players have been ones that were on like the 1-on-1s, that they just renewed the contract or exercised the option. So he could still very well end up back there, or end up somewhere else, end up in championship. He's got a championship already in League One. He's kind of proven what he can do here. He may be like, hey, I'm ready for championship. Unfortunately, if you look at the history of the last couple of years, when players leave League One to go to championship, outside of like a Dallas FC player that really isn't a true League One player, they're just sitting the bench. They're not getting a lot of playing time. So it depends on what he's looking for. Because I don't know.
So Red Wolf players that are negotiating, just so you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it's what are you looking for, right? Like if the money's the same, what are you looking? Are you looking for playing time? Because from what I understand, the money's not that difference between championship and League One. From what I've heard from talking to players like off the record, like it's not that much of a difference. So do you want to play? Do you want to sit the bench? Do you think sitting the bench on championship gets you close to whatever your end goal is? Do some of these guys still have dreams of getting to MLS, getting to whatever the top division is in their home country? I don't know, but which one gets you better? I think playing time gets you there quicker than sitting the bench on a better team. And I'm putting that in quotes because they're not necessarily a better team. We had the Open Cup back, so I guess we'll find out. But that's the big deal to me. Like, what's going to get them playing time? Will they end up back here because they know they're going to get more playing time? And, that's where Jackson Dietrich comes in. Like, was he on a 1-only contract? I don't know if he was a 1-on-1. And if he was a 1-only, does he think he's going to get the playing time here? Or does he think he could get it somewhere else? Like, these are the questions I think these guys have to answer.
So I think it's interesting, and it may have to do just with the fact of, like you're talking about, Omaha had a lot of players who were on their second year, seeing as it was the second year of their existence, but they only had 5 that they were announcing returning so far. So that could be that they've got a lot of guys that they're in negotiations with. It could be a lot of guys that, they, like you've said, they've won their championship and they're looking to move on and make their mark. But Greenville won their championship. They, the 2020 plague year, they were almost rail to rail, first place, best team in the league. And they brought a lot of guys back for a third year, found themselves in the League One championship again. And so I think that's something that's worth looking at. You get to that level, you get to the top, and trying to bring back that core, as much of it as you can, is a way that kind of helps keep you up there. And are we going to see Omaha take a tumble because they're going to have a lot of churn in their roster after winning the championship with guys moving on and wanting to do other things?
And I always take this shot, but I'm going to take it anyways. Like, I wonder how many of those guys don't want to play on a baseball field anymore. Like, just being honest, like it can't be fun to play. And from what I understand, it was basically a beach baseball field in the championship. It was so much sand because they sanded it for the baseball team to make sure the grass grew back correctly for the baseball team, because they are by far the second tenant in that stadium. I wonder how many players are like, I don't really want to come back. Like, I got a championship. I'm happy I did. I really like these fans, because I think the fans are liked by the players there. But I'm sorry, playing on a baseball field sucks. Playing with all the sand everywhere sucks. And if I can get an opportunity to move up the championship and hopefully maybe make a mark, get lucky, get some more playing time up there, if I can go to Northern Colorado or Fuego and become like the first-year star there, then maybe that interests me. I don't know what their goal is, but I do think a guy like Eamon Zaid, who has a lot of history of various leagues he's played in, I think he's going to have some pull up there. They're going to have a really nice combo stadium that is not the same thing as playing in a baseball first. This stadium was built for soccer to be on it and baseball as well. And so it's got a very wide left field. It will be a full regulation one. It's not an afterthought. So let's go ahead and make that clear for all the ones that think it's a baseball stadium. It's not. I don't know. These are the things that I wonder about. Like, what's going to be moving these players around? What's going to be the real impact?
Has anyone given us an update? Does Tormenta have lights?
Yeah.
I think they're still playing.
Can we get someone on that? We need to
ask Omaha.
We need some investigative journalism from Omaha. Yeah. If any of you could get down to Statesboro and make sure that there are lights in their stadium.
Now that Detroit City has moved to USL, you probably aren't going to be seeing
it won't be that different. The track stadium that they played in, the lights were so far away, they might as well have not been there in Statesboro.
It was bad. But I think they're going to be playing there again, because I don't see how they get that stadium built quick enough to have it ready to go for an early April start date. Like, that's a little over 3 months away.
Yeah. And you know what? It's fine. But the fact that you have it going and happening, I think hats off to them. I'm looking forward to seeing their new stadium. But yeah, I agree with Adam. You don't really need to rush that. It's actually better to have a complete stadium until you've got it enough. Of course, we had a viewer comment from Alexis Villalobos. That's an interesting last name there. Checking Facebook all the time, hoping to see
obvious
another
Red Wolf
player
fan.
come back. Yes, because Lobos is in the name. This does bring me to a comment or question. I think that the Red Wolves front office has improved on communication, but I still think there's room for improvement on these kinds of things. I think they've done well on building up some hype that some announcements are coming, but they've been inconsistent. Like, I've seen some being only on Facebook, but not on Twitter. But I want to bring this major point up, is that I still think that the Chattanooga Red Wolves front office can do better on wishing former players well when they announce that they're leaving. And I think they need to get in front of that. And so they're leaving, and we wish them well. And I think I think we should take the high road on that.
So a perfect example of that is Dallas J leaving Greenville.
Yeah.
They did a really good job of thanking him when he made his announcement and thanking them. The same has not been done for Ro Pineda, who has been here started with the Park City Red Wolves, moved up.
Mhm.
Same has not really been fully done to the same extent. He, as much as I gave him a hard time for the season, he stepped up and played a defensive player, and I thought did a great job when he
Yeah.
transitioned into that defensive role.
Mhm.
And the fact of the matter is, he was a net positive for that clubhouse, and losing him, and that's what seems to be the implication when you think an organization, you think the Park City team. It's pretty clear what's happening, right? And you're right. The opportunity to get ahead of that, to be ready right away to say, you did these great things for us. We're so excited to see where your career is going to take you. Like, you can be genuine and also not be specific. Like, if you don't know what's happening, you can say, like, we thank you for what you've done. We're excited to follow your career going forward. We wish you the best of luck. Like, all those things can be done.
Yes.
From a fan standpoint, I just want an ability for me to load a Google Calendar or an Apple iCalendar of the schedule from you. Like, just be able to load it so that it automatically updates when these game time changes and stuff, because
Yes.
that always happens, right? And that's what I want.
Yes.
Yeah, but they won an award
There you go.
for
For social
something.
media. Yeah,
For social
I
media.
hope they
Yes.
got those pillows as the award. I hope there's going to be a couch in the executive club that has those League One pillows
I
as
also
their
want more
social
Rusty.
media award.
Ooh.
I like how they're doing the announcements. You see some of them, they're basically putting out one block announcement. I really like how they're kind of letting each player shine on his own, giving you something every couple days, just like Alexis talked about, being able to check Facebook and say, oh, maybe a new player's been announced. And I think that's really good, has driven fan engagement through the offseason, and gotten me back in the spirit, as it were, getting ready for the spring to start.
All right, so before we go to anything non-Red Bulls related, I want to talk a little bit about the schedule. Two things that really stand out is the first 8 games and the last 8 games of the season. We are at home 6 of the first 8 games.
Yeah.
We were away 6 of the last 8 games. The beginning of this season is going to be huge.
Yeah, we better be on and take advantage of that. We better be out of the gate and jump ahead, because it's going to be hard to catch up at the end if you're trying to get back up in position. I noticed that too. And I kind of funny. I wonder if it's part of it might be because our stadium is in better shape than others, which, it's kind of ironic from 2 years ago, and we had to, kind of hold back on it. But it's, I'm excited to see that we are starting back in April 2nd. We're having an early start rather than start in the end of May like we did last time, at least for the first home game. So, wait. Hold on. We got another viewer comment there. Had more home game at the end.
Yeah.
Well, maybe if you play, are we playing at Tucson? Because for the Villaloboses, when they play at Tucson, they are on September 24th. I think you could consider that a home game, because however, all these people turned out wearing the Villalobos jerseys in the Tucson match.
There you go.
April is going to be absolutely beautiful. April, early May, 6 home games.
April is always absolutely beautiful.
Firewolves at the tailgate. The weather's fantastic.
Yeah.
The brewskis will be delightful.
To be a brewer.
So it's going to be a great time to kick off that season, and hopefully that gives the players the spur, as we're all socially lubricated, you could say, making sure that the team knows what's up when they get out there on the field. We're all in a good mood. We're not too hot. It's not super cold. It's going to be fantastic. I'm very excited about that.
So I referenced this earlier. Level schedule other than the home and away part, right? You play every team 3 times, total of 30 games, because there's 11 teams. I am super excited about the fact that we're going to have a balanced, as much as you can when it's a 3 game, because home and away does affect. But for the most part, a balanced schedule. You're not going to have a situation where you look at a team like Omafraud was 2 years ago, where you're like, yeah, you played the easiest schedule. and no one ever talked about it and drove me crazy. We're not going to deal with that. Everyone's going to play the same teams the same amount of time. What is your guys' view on having a balanced number of games versus every team?
I think you're going to find something to drive you crazy. So you don't have to worry about that, Adam. I think you're going to find that.
I'm good at complaining.
Yeah. No, I think it's a good balance. You know, I am excited we're getting Charlotte in, and so that we've got 3 teams between Charlotte, Greenville, and South Georgia Tormenta that are very easy road trip. Possibly North Carolina, but that kind of balance with that is nice. So you got up to 2 away, or 1 or 2, and then 1 or 2, and I like that balance. Of course, next year it's going to change because we're going to continue to expand the league. But I don't have any complaints about this schedule.
I am really excited about the balance. Everyone playing each other an equal number of times. I love that they added the 2 games to make that possible instead of doing something silly like having us play 27 games with some kind of unbalanced formula. That feels like, if you look at World Cup qualifying, like it feels like everything in the world, if there's a way they could make it more complicated, they do. I don't know why they think they're going to be able to set it up a particular way, but to be able to just say, well, let's just add 2 games and have everyone play 3 games. And there's 11 teams in the league. So 5 of them, you play 2 home games, 5 of them, you play 2 away games. That may make a difference, but it's not, I don't think it's going to be as huge a difference as, the year before, where somebody had to play a team 4 times and the other team only had to play them once at the end of the season when they'd already qualified for the playoffs and the game didn't matter. Can I just also point out that on October 15th, there are 5 games. I think the only team not playing is Northern Colorado Hailstorm, who plays their last game on October 8th. So what we've been talking about, Adam, since the very beginning, we're going to have a decision
Depending
day.
on timing.
Yeah.
Times are not set out there yet. League One, kick these games off at the same time.
It's a
Saturday.
So you can adjust it, some earlier than we normally play. That's fine.
Right. They can kick off a little earlier out west. They can kick off a little later out east. Mm-hmm. Kick them all off at the same. You can play them all in the afternoon so that no one has to start a game at like 9 p.m. But have these games at the same time and have that decision day like you see in a lot of the major leagues and stuff like that. And it's going to be a lot of fun. You could end up, we ended up towards the end of the year, there were a lot of games that meant something when they were being played last season. And so to have all of them at the same time where people are not, I just always look back at that Lansing-Madison game where the guy, you could just tell there was some kind of agreement that, hey, we won't really work too hard to get a draw so that you can get in the playoffs, which is what you do with your fiercest rival. That was the funniest part. They talked about their huge rivalry. But that they're going to have this at the end of the year, I think is great.
So did you guys see the biggest mistake that they made in the schedule?
No, that's why we have you, Adam.
So as you may be aware, the U.S. Open Cup is back this year. And it is we will enter into the U.S. Open Cup during the second round. That second round is the second weekend of the season for us. And we've got games scheduled for everybody that weekend. That makes literally no sense. Like, it's second round for Division II and Division III teams to enter is April 5th through the 7th.
Mm-hmm.
We've got scheduled games for Fuego and the Independents on the 8th of April. So we got to hope that they play on the 5th, or else that's going to get moved. And then we've got a game versus North Carolina FC on April 9th. So if we have a 7th game, that could be moved to Sunday as well. So I feel like they messed up a little bit here. Like, they should have had all those games scheduled for later.
It's too bad that these are all set in stone and by U.S. law can't change at all.
Well, no, that's my worry though, because I would like to take a trip to Northern Colorado in June, and I just do not want that game to somehow get moved after I've started reserving stuff. I'm just saying.
Well, won't the Cup games be handled midweek?
It's the
right
5th to the
now-
7th. So,
Right.
and just
So
say if
all
we
of
end
our
up with a
teams will
7th
play on the
game,
5th.
hopefully, yeah.
Yeah.
And they may already know that. U.S. Soccer may have already told them, like, hey, your games are the 5th and the 6th, schedule accordingly, and then they'll do that. And I'm just saying, like, it just seems like, I don't know. And there was another thing that was interesting is for a team to be counted in the league and to be eligible for the Open Cup without a waiver, they had to have played at least one game in their league 7 days prior to their first possible game. That means Fuego and Charlotte and Hailstorm, who Hailstorm doesn't even play their first game until April 9th, will not have completed their one game in their league prior to the first scheduled game for the Open Cup. So they will have to get a waiver from U.S. Soccer to even be in the Open Cup, which part of me feels like maybe that's why Fuego is scheduled to play the Independents on April 8th, because they're not even going to ask for the waiver.
I don't
Just
know.
saying.
See, why are we making this all so complicated?
Yeah.
We want more soccer games. Let people play soccer games.
Let them play,
Yeah.
Let the kids play.
This is year one for North Colorado. The fact they're in a cup, whether or not they win the cup or they do well in the cup, isn't as important that they're in a cup. So
I did see on a Twitter feed, which made me laugh, like trying to explain MLS to a European that's only watched European soccer. And the explanation was, we play all year long for the seeding for our cup. And I was like,
Yep.
oh, yeah, that's true.
It is.
You're not wrong, because we don't care about who wins the Supporters' Shield.
There are multiple European leagues now that take the top. They play and they take the top half of their. And to me, it's even dumber because they just slice off the top half and have them all play another round robin. They don't reset the points. They don't count stuff double. I mean, it's like in Scotland, Celtic and Rangers are 40 points ahead of everyone, and they slice off the top half and play another round robin. And even if one of the teams below them was to win every single game, they still wouldn't catch them. And so they're still the champions. So,
yeah, that's dumb.
I mean, what's up with that? Just saying.
What's up with that?
What's up with that?
Real quick,
What's
let's do
up
it
with
rapid
that?
fire. The topic that I actually wanted us to discuss before we spent 20 minutes talking about other things. Which Red Wolves game on the schedule are you most excited about right now, Adam?
Northern Colorado on June 30th, because my
You
family
took
is
mine.
planning on tripping.
You're going to
family
Northern Colorado. Never mind.
Yeah,
Jeff.
my family is planning on going there, so that's why.
I got Northern Colorado on May 7th because I want to see them.
Mine.
And you know what? We could share. There's no rule saying that we can't share.
No, we can't share. That's not how this works.
Not...
I'm going to go with April 2nd, home kickoff against those birds from up north.
Anyone else find it odd that there are home kickoff for the second time in 4 years?
That's that's fine. I'm good with it.
Still, April 2nd, weather's going to be beautiful. Shout out Brandon Dean.
Brandon Dean!
Going to have the queso dip going. Going to have the brats.
They are going to have. There are 3 other dates I do want to mention. Is July 9th and these are away games because I'm mentioning them because I would like to see us go in mass. One of the highlights of this year was when we went in Greenville and had an amazing time. July 9th, South Georgia, very doable. And as I told my wife, it's also close to Savannah, so we can make a weekend. Then we're at Charlotte on August 27th. Unfortunately, when we're at Greenville, it's in the midweek, so that's not going to happen. But at least not for us. October 15th, though, near the end, we're back at South Georgia Tormenta. It would be nice to see another road group again this year because we had such a blast.
Yes, and I would say be looking at the fan page on Facebook, Chattanooga Red Wolves fans. Folks from the front office may be trying to reach out to organize things. There may be a possibility of, for a nominal fee, we can all pile on a bus and we can have someone do the driving for us to get us to one of those games, possibly in Greenville or in South Georgia. Probably not to Northern Colorado, but keep your eye out
Missed
for those that
opportunity.
could, as you're saying, Jeff, it would be a lot of fun to be able to travel en masse and take over some stadiums around the league. The other thing, quickly, what non-Red Wolves League One matchup are you looking forward to?
So for me, it's the first rematch of the championship, right? And I'm blanking on when that is. It's not for it's pretty deep in, isn't it? It's May or June, right, before they play each other.
I think so.
I feel like it is, which is surprising to me that they didn't try to get them together sooner. But you want to see what that looks like. How different are these teams going to be? This will be they face each other or would have faced each other in the championship back-to-back years. They've been the top two teams the last 2 years, so that's the game I want to see. Like, are they both still top tier, and what does that look like?
I think I want to see some of the new teams. There is a game early on. It's on a Friday, so it won't compete with ours. It's Charlotte hosting Fuego. And so I just kind of want to check these new teams out. And, of course, the next day we're going to see North Colorado. So if I got to pick one, I'm going to pick that one.
I am going to be interested to see what happens when Tucson goes to Fuego and they get ready and they board their plane or they get on a bus and then they get to where they're playing someone and they're like, wait, that's it? That was a short trip, because they finally have teams that are out on the West Coast. Congrats, Tucson.
Yes. You've got
so
friends.
Anyone else notice? So when I was looking through this, I was like, okay, well, when is Northern Colorado's first home game, right? Because they're building their stadium. They don't have a single home game in the month of April. No. They don't have a single home game in the month of May. Their first home game is Wednesday, June 8th.
Yeah. You know what?
Wednesday, June 8th. Like, what?
I'm not going to give them any grief about this because we knew how flexible we had to be with our new stadium. And I know that other teams like Toronto had to be extra flexible this last year. It wasn't because of stadium availability. It was national things about not being able to get to Canada. So they had to do all their home games either on the road or back there. So, I think it's interesting. But you know what? I think that's still better than them playing in a stadium that's not really ready.
No, and I
they
agree,
don't even have to have grass, just have lights.
But
that apparently is all that qualifies you as a place to play soccer.
They would be the Northern Lights. That's a Wednesday. I know. Yeah. I think the Wednesday is kind of odd, but then they play on that Saturday, June 11th. So I don't know why they couldn't play the June 4th, but.
Well, when you play that many, I mean, they start off with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 games on the road. And then they're just like all about being at home. They have North Carolina, then South Georgia, then they go away, then Fuego, then away, then us, then forward, then away. Like, it's like 2 home, away, 2 home, away, 2 home, away for like basically through the end of July.
Yeah.
And so they could go on a run then, but maybe the thought is it's our home opener. If we do it if we have to do midweek games, let's do that midweek game as a home opener and we'll still get a large crowd. I don't know. It just seems odd that you wouldn't have a brand new stadium home opener be a marquee game on the weekend, but
Well,
if you have to do it in the middle of the year, maybe you want to do something like a kind of a cold open to see if there's stuff that you want to sort out, and then that Saturday you can really go for broke.
Because there's always something you've got to fix by the next game, so you might as well do it in a midweek, which is smaller attendance. So
I also like that they have Fuego and Tucson and Northern Colorado playing each other the last 2 weekends for Northern Colorado, because I think that's your most likely place you're going to end up getting some rivalry of those West Coast or more Western style teams. Like, I like that's what they've done there. I don't know if that was on purpose or not, but I mean, if you look at FC Tucson, they play Fuego and Hailstorm and then Forward Madison. So it's like at the end for them as well is that that type of schedule. So I don't know. Like I said, I don't know if that's on purpose, but it does make me happy to see that they seem like they're attempting to kind of create a local or more localized rivalry for those three teams that are kind of in the same area. I mean,
on the same half of the country.
Well, they're like, I mean, Tucson's been on its own on an island. Like,
yeah, I know. So it's better. I'm curious, guys. Are you more excited about the teams just starting off, or excited about Charlotte, who, like North Carolina last year, is stepping in? So
I'm not excited about Charlotte at all, because they're nobody cares about them in Charlotte. They never have, and it's only going to be worse with the MLS team starting next year.
It's going to be similar to what happened with North Carolina. They're moving down because they want to focus on youth, so they're going to be a very young team. I think they're really going to struggle. So I kind of agree with Adam. I'm not super excited about Charlotte coming down. I'm much more excited about someone like Eamon, who I think is really going to want to make a mark. Already has with a splashy assistant coach signing, and I think they're going to be a team that goes out and competes. I think Fuego being able to be a little closer to home for California, which is a rich hotbed of soccer. I think they're going to be a team that competes. Maybe they're not top half of the league right away, but I think I'm more excited about those new teams, independent teams that are looking to, try to build something new and be competitive.
Well, the other thing that's interesting in Charlotte is the second iteration of Stumptown has been sold, and it sounds like it's been sold to Carolina SC, which is a really long-standing academy in the Charlotte area. So I don't even know if the Independents will even have the best academy to third division in their own town. So yeah, they just don't interest me at all. They have a great stadium setup too, and that's what sucks about it, because Memorial that they've redone there is a really cool setup, and the fact that it'll be empty, it'll be empty, and they don't have a very large fan base, and they never have, even without all the junk that happens with their owner. They didn't have a large fan base down there in Matthews where they were playing before. I doubt there'll be any sort of rivalry with them in Greenville, even though they're only 2 hours apart, because there's no one there to rival with. So yeah, I'm not excited about them at all. I just look forward to when they fold in a year or two, and hopefully we've got some other teams to play against.
Well, I suspect that they would move. I don't know, just because you've got, when the MLS team comes, there's also the expectation that their 2 team is going to be in their.
That'll be the third.
Yeah.
Division 3 team in the city.
Yeah, so it's going to be pretty tight. Maybe they could rise up, but even if not, they will always be the other team that has an MLS team. So they're never going to get the top attention.
Well, and then, I don't know how much you guys have read into this stuff, but the owner of the Michigan Stars claims that he had purchased and then it was taken out from underneath him when Detroit City joined championship. So, which is an interesting thing. So they weren't even, I mean, if you take him at his word, they weren't even planning on being.
I didn't hear anything you had said. Is that me out or is that you out?
Yeah, that was him.
Okay. Yeah. So like he's being
Yeah, you're
censored by
still
the
loud,
league.
Adam.
All this very intense stuff you just said, we didn't hear at all. So I suspect that someone in the league is going behind and is censoring you.
Can you guys hear me now?
So
Yes,
Yeah.
hear you now.
I'm going to say this because I think it's important to know. Like the NISA Detroit Michigan Stars owner claims that he had the rights to purchase the Independents, was going to keep them there for one more season, and then move them to Detroit as a championship team. And then when Detroit City joined, that the USL was like, about that, we're not doing it. And so I don't even think the Independents want to be in there. They're just trying to survive long enough to be sold the rights to them to someone else. So I don't give them long. I think we got them for 1, maybe 2 years tops, and they're gone.
Well, if we're lucky, their wife will get the team in the divorce and hire a football coach.
So
Football is life.
Football is life.
as long as the owner doesn't try to play his keeper through the games.
All right, so we've been going on for a while. We're 51 minutes in. It is the Festivus episode,
Festivus.
But I
and
also
one of
haven't had
the
dinner yet.
lines of
So-
Festivus is an airing of grievances.
Whew. Okay.
Does anyone have any grievances they would like to air?
Not so much a grievance, but I would like to see a bathroom on the other side that's not a porta potty. I think that would be great. There is the one that you kind of have to go through the gauntlet and act like you bought a special ticket to get to, even though it's supposed to be available to anybody. But yeah, I just wanted to see more bathrooms. And is it even possible to put bathrooms up top with the beer garden? So I know they haven't made the beer garden, but if you had the bathrooms, it makes sense to have them at the beer garden because, that's just beer is just recycled. You don't own beer, you only rent it. So
Says the man who does not drink.
I know.
Well done.
I would say observations. That's really, really kind of creepy when I said that.
You got anything, Tinsel?
People have been taking packages off of our front porch. So if anyone
Really?
has any refuse that they want to get rid of, DM me and I'll send you my address and you can FedEx it to my front porch for whoever's
that
going to
sucks.
steal my stuff.
Wow.
All right, so I've got my grievance, and it has nothing to do with soccer, but it does have to do with what Tinsel was just discussing.
Mm.
We had a package. I got the notification, your package has been delivered. So I come home and I'm looking around. I'm like, where did they deliver the package? And so I reach out to my wife, and she's like, put a post on our neighborhood Facebook page, see if anybody actually had it delivered to them. And then I was like, well, let me look in the app. I look in the app and I notice, and I click on the get details, and my package was delivered to me in Virginia, Petersburg, Virginia. That's what it said. Now, if you click in the UPS app, it has my address, but then it says delivered Petersburg, Virginia. So I call the place. I'm like, yeah, my package was delivered to the wrong address. And they're like, oh, okay, so it was delivered to the wrong house. I'm like, well, it was the wrong state. And they were like, I'm sorry. I was like, it was delivered 520 miles from my home. And they were like, no, I saw the address as being, and the name's off my home address. I'm like, yeah, I see that. Yeah, I see it too. But scroll down on your page a little bit. See where it says Petersburg, Virginia? And then they followed up by going, okay, well, we can just refund you. It's a kid's Christmas gift. Like, no, you're not going to refund me. You're going to reship out with priority the thing that I correctly ordered with your guaranteed by Christmas line up there to get to me. And the person's like, oh, I don't think I can do that. Let me get a supervisor. It took me over an hour to get somebody who understood what I was saying. I was like, listen, this was on Monday. I was like, you've got enough days. If you do second day air, it's here in time. You just need to do it. You need to bite the bullet because somewhere along the line, either you or your shipping partner mess this up. And it took forever to get somebody who could just go, oh, that makes sense. Because this was not like a low cost purchase. Like, I'm asking you to spend $20 on something you're probably making $200-$300 on. Like, it was very angering. So all that to say, UPS, don't tell me you've delivered something. Note that you delivered it in the wrong state and have the correct address on the list as well. That makes no frickin' sense. I'm done.
That was riveting.
That was
He
I got
was
yeah
mad.
anything
Hey,
I have
let's-
is petty now. It's all petty now. Everything else I have.
Let's do a local soccer roundup from the fall season.
Ooh.
So
Okay.
we'll start with old Adam's alumni. Alumni? What do they call that? Anyway, Adam went there. Covenant College. Covenant men started their season 0-3-1, went on a 15-match unbeaten streak to finish the season, winning the conference championship and going to the NCAA Division III tournament. Congrats. Covenant women also winning the conference championship. Covenant doing the double, and had Kaylee Burrell. I'm sure she's a listener. Congrats, Kaylee, on being announced Conference Player of the Year from Covenant College, and their program's first trip ever to the Division III NCAA tournament. Way to go. Lee University, their men's team went to the conference finals. The Lee ladies had an undefeated season all the way until their regional semifinal in the NAIA tournament, where they lost on penalty kicks. That's a fantastic season, undefeated. Way to go, Lee University. And Lady Red Wolf, Suzo Yamasaki, wins an NAIA national title with Tennessee Southern. Only one loss the whole season. And so hopefully we'll see her back this summer, sporting her championship ring. In very local, East Hamilton Middle and East Hamilton Middle, boys and girls, both winning the county championship for them. Lots of academy players on both the boys and girls sides there, so congrats to them for that. And of course, we had the Tennessee State High School Championships hosted at CHI Memorial. We had CSAS and East Hamilton ladies both making the semifinals, and Baylor making the state final. None of them, unfortunately, able to make the win the championship, but they had great seasons. All of those championships played at CHI Memorial. A lot of fun, really good positive feedback. And in the spring, when the boys play soccer in Tennessee, you will see those games played as well. Looking forward to the spring with the boys. Last year, both Dalton and Southeast Whitfield County, both of those schools ranked 1 and 3 nationally. So those are teams to keep an eye on. And then also they had Cahola Creek, was a third high school there in Whitfield County that won a state championship. Also keep an eye on McCauley, Baylor, Ottawa, and Boyd Buchanan, teams that are highly ranked in the state of Tennessee this spring. So lots of great local soccer. Keep an eye on things like Twitter and Facebook, where they advertise that they're going to be playing those games. Lots of academy products with the Red Wolves Academy that play for these teams. So go out and give them some support. Watch them play. It's going to be good soccer.
All right. Thank you so much, Alex. You guys got anything else before we end this? Apparently, Alex needs to take another sneeze.
No, I had my nacho break. It was good.
Really important. January 30th, the U.S. is going to be playing at Canada in a World Cup qualifier. They play it at Tim Hortons Field in Hamilton, home of our friends Hamilton Forge, who have the Tim Hortons as their sponsor on their jersey. The field is also known as the Donut Box.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
Who's ready for a road trip? Guys, are you in?
The 31st is my birthday. That's so tempting. That is so tempting.
Even if we don't go to the real Donut Box, let's just go to the Crystal on Brainerd Road and
the Krispy
Kreme
donut box. Yes.
And get a donut box and watch the game in the donut box.
get like little men set them inside of it.
Quick, Biggleswade Town right now on a little bit of a winless streak. Coach Chris Nunn, we love you. We hope everything picks up very soon. They're going to be playing on the 27th. Biggleswade FC on fire. 13 points in their last 5 games. Moved themselves from near the relegation zone up to the middle of the table. And Biggleswade United, the men have a couple wins on the year. Things are starting to turn around for them. Their ladies, the Reds, second place in the Eastern Region Women's League. And their Blues are in third place in the Beds and Hertz Women's First Division. That's your Biggleswade report.
Sweet.
So one last thing when it comes to lower division English soccer, I don't know if you guys heard about the Bitcoin team, but there's a Bitcoin person who has bought a team out over there, and they also play in the South Midlands League, and their goal is to move up 10 levels in 11 years and get to Premier League. So more power to you there. In I can't remember what city it is, but they're not going to accomplish it. But yeah. I don't know if you guys saw that or not.
So they're not in the town of Bitcoin?
No,
Okay.
Unfortunately not. Let's see. If you search for Bitcoin FC, you don't find it, but I think it's Watford FC is the name of it. Nope, that's not it. That's actually Watford. I'm trying to see. Bitcoin football team lower division. Let's see. Yeah, I can't find it.
Wow, this is podcast gold right here.
Yeah. Okay, here we go. McCormick. It's Bedford. Bedford FC is who it is.
Okay.
Yeah. So Bedford FC. He's talked about renaming them, much like you would like rename a American team Real Bedford. And if you go to the Twitter feed for Real Bedford, it's Real Bedford, where the B is a Bitcoin symbol. FC is the name of the team. They are sponsored by Luxor. And literally, it's hilarious, though, because they said, here's one of their tweets, which made me laugh. There has been some misunderstanding on our strategy. We think 9 consecutive promotions is a little unrealistic. We aren't idiots. We've allowed for an off year and are planning to be in the Premier League in 10. But they're in the South Midlands Division 1 right now. So their goal is to make it up to some of the levels of Biggleswade.
Well, dreaming is free.
Good luck with that.
Yeah.
And I think that's a good point for us to go.
I think 3 minutes ago was a good point for us to go.
No. I disagree completely.
Bye.
Well, we have more on the sheet.